بسم الله الحمد لله اللهم صل على محمد النبي الأمي وعلى آله وسلم تسليما. So, we started speaking about Ali bin Abi Talib. So it's mentioned here. ثم إن علي بن أبي طالب جاء بعد ذلك اليوم. Ali bin Abi Talib came after the Islam of Khadija, radiallahu anha. So the next day, that after Khadija radiallahu anha took Shahada and accepted Islam, Ali bin Abi Talib came to visit. فوجدهما يصليان. Ali found Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and Khadija making salat. So Ali said, Ya Muhammad, O Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, what is this? The Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam replied, Deen Allah alladhi istafana bi nafsihi. This is the deen of Allah that Allah has chosen for himself. وَبَعَثَ بِهِ رُسُلَهُ. Allah sent all his messengers to this deen. فَادْعُوكَ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَإِلَى عِبَادَتِهِ. So I'm inviting you towards Allah and towards worshiping Allah. وَكُفْرٌ بِاللَّاتِ وَالْعُزَّى. I'm inviting you to disbelieve and reject Lat and Uzza. So Ali says, هذا أمر لم أسمع به قبل. This is something I have never heard of before today. فلست بقادر أمرا حتى أحدث أبا طالب. I'm not going to decide anything until I first tell Abu Talib, my father, right? فكره رسول صلى الله عليه وسلم يفشي عليه سره. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't want that the secret of Islam must be known قبل أن يستعلن أمره, before Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself how will you say publicizes it. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam didn't want Ali to open it like that without proper planning and without Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam himself publicizing it. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, Oh Ali, illam taslam, if you're not going to accept Islam now, faktum, then just leave it as it is, keep it a secret. So Ali remained that night, spent that night, and he remained, you could say, a week, tossing and turning, thinking about it. So he went to sleep, he probably had some rest, but it was in his mind. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala placed it in the heart of Ali, the truth of Islam. So he went the next morning to the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and Ali says, what is it that you presented to me, O Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam? So the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, I present to you that you bear witness that there is none worthy of worship except Allah alone. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is alone and He is unique. He has no partner. And you must disbelieve in Lat and Uzza. And you must clear yourself from idol worship. So Ali agreed and he accepted Islam. Ali afterwards remained coming to visit the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam secretly, fearing that Abu Talib would know. He kept his Islam very secret. One of the great favors that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bestowed upon Ali is that Ali grew up in the house of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam before Islam. Mujahid says that Ali accepted Islam, he was 10 years old. What's your name? 10? What age you accept Islam? 10, right? MashaAllah. Good enough? MashaAllah. So Mujahid accepted Islam at 10 years old. And this one is Rayyan. Well, what age you accept Islam, right? So your age right now? Huh? 9 now? Okay. What about you, pal?
He accepted Islam when he was 11.
How many people we have?
Right now, 8.
MashaAllah. Ibn Abbas and others, they have the opinion that the first person to accept Islam was Ali. Of course, there are others who said Abu Bakr, others said Khadija. So, later on, inshallah, we'll speak about that opinion, right? His opinion, inshallah. Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, according to Anas bin Malik, Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam became a prophet on a Monday, and on the Tuesday, Ali accepted Islam. So Islam was like 1 day old when Ali took Shahada, right? Now, there were some scholars said, okay, the first person to accept Islam was Ali, but there were some, how we say, more mainstream scholars who disagreed with that, and they said that no. Like for example, Ibrahim al-Nakhi, one of the senior tabi'un, he disagreed with that. He says no, the first person to accept Islam was Abu Bakr. Right? The first child to accept Islam was Ali. The first woman was Khadija. The first servant was Zayd bin Haritha. All of them accepted Islam because it's very, very early. That's the reason why you have the confusion or the difference of opinion, because all of the Islam was either on the same day or 1 day apart. It was, so you could understand, you know, there would have been some misunderstanding, some confusion, difference of opinion because of that, right? Ali himself says, Lama alama hada min hadil ummah, abad Allah qabli. I don't know anybody from this ummah, meaning, well, of course, after the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, who worship Allah before me. لَقَرَبَتُ قَبْلَ أَن يُعْبَرَهُ أَحَلُ مِنْهُمْ كَمْسَ سِنِينَ أَوْ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ. So, you know, about 5 or 7 years before other people began worshipping Allah, I was already worshipping Allah. I'll have to explain that to you all, inshallah, right? Then, one narration, Ali says, I was the first one to make salat with the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Now, what Ali means, like, you know, 5 years or 7 years, and then other people began worshipping Allah, it really means that it's just like what Abu Bakr used to say, or Abu Dhar used to say, that something was already in their mind and in their heart about Islam before they heard about Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because they dislike, you know, idol worship, they dislike, you know, dhulm and oppression and these wrong things. So you can say that they were worshipping Allah, but they didn't know how to worship Allah because nobody had taught them about salat and fasting and anything like that. So they worship Allah in whatever way they could. You'll understand that. They didn't really know about Qibla or any of the rules. So you could say, yeah, they were worshipping Allah in their own method, but Islam came and actually gave them a way now of worshipping Allah, and Islam showed them the straight path. Now, also, only after 5 years or 7 years of, you could say, Islam, then we had the Mi'raj, and people, Salah became compulsory. So, we know Ali bin Abi Talib said that when he accepted Islam, he never heard about anything like this before. Even Abu Bakr, so most of the other Sahaba who accepted Islam earlier on, they didn't really hear anything about Islam before. I think the only person who I really read that knew something about Islam was Abu Bakr Siddiq, because of his travels and because of his interactions with like Jews and Christians and scholars that he would meet in Syria and other places. So he heard about Islam, he heard about one Allah, he heard about prophecies of Abu Bakr Siddiq. So the other main Sahaba, something was always inside of them that a change has to be made, mashallah. Now Ali bin Abi Talib, anhu, by him saying he worshipped Allah when nobody else would worship Allah for at least 5 or 7 years, it also means this was before Mi'raj. So Mi'raj was after Islam, about 5 or 7 years after Islam itself. And in Mi'raj, Salah became farad. So Ali anhu was making all these secret Salat and the Nafil Salat and with the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam either at home or in the mountains and in the alleys of Makkah. With the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, he was with the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam making Salat all of that time. So before anybody else got the command to make Salat, Ali was already making Salat, right? Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is mentioned to have said, لَقَدْ صَلَّتِ الْمَلَائِكَةُ عَلَيَّ وَعَلَى عَلِيٍّ سَبْعَ سِنِينَ. The Malaika would make Salat and Dua upon me and upon Ali for 7 years. This was because nobody made Salat with us except Ali, with me except Ali. So Ali would be getting very special du'as from the Malaika. The Hijrah. Sometimes in these books you have different narrations being repeated from different chains, different avenues. So because they're not too new to really speak about, I'm going to skip them. I'm going to speak about the Hijrah of Ali. It is mentioned here, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam remained in Makkah after many of his companions had already left to go to Medina. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was waiting instructions from Jibreel. And the instruction would have been to give the command to leave Makkah by the permission of Allah to make Hijrah to Medina. So the days came when the Quraysh had gathered and made their mashura and their plan against the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. They wanted to arrest the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam or even kill him, right? So we know that the men were gathered outside the house and they were going to cut the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in pieces. All the men from different tribes. That not one tribe is responsible, but all tribes will be responsible for his killing. Jibreel alayhi salatu on the day that the Quraysh surrounded the Rasul's house and were about to ambush him, on that day is when Jibreel alayhi salatu came and gave the command of Rasulullah, do not sleep in the normal place that where you would sleep. So Nabi Sallallahu called Ali bin Abi Talib and commanded him to lie down and to sleep on my bed, wrap up in my green blanket, you could say. So Ali did that. Then the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left the house, and the people were still surrounding the house, standing at the door, and they didn't see the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Now, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam allowed his Sahaba to leave to go to Medina. Ali was one of the last persons to come to Medina. Right? Now, Ali had no fear of losing his life or losing his deen. Even though he was going to remain in Mecca for a while, Ali had no fear. Why? Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told him, remain in Mecca, sleep on my bed, and only after 3 days then come. And he commanded Ali that all the persons whom like trust that I am keeping, they are well to belongings that are left for me to keep safely, return it to them within those 3 days, then come to me. Now if Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is telling you that, then you know for sure you're not going to die. If my Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam tells me, hey what, go lie down on my bed, and if about a dozen swordsmen going to come, who will want to cut me in pieces, but you're going to lie down on my bed and wrap up in my blanket and pretend to be me. And meet me after 3 days after you give everybody their belongings. I'm going to lie down and sleep because my Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, meet him after 3 days, so he knows 100 men will be there and I'm not going to die. Do you understand? Yes. Because my Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says meet me after 3 days. So between meeting me after 3 days, my Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam has knowledge that I didn't have. You all understand? You understand that? Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told them to meet him after 3 days, so it means it's a guarantee he's going to live. Even though Makkah wants to kill you, but it's like a guarantee you're going to live. So Ali, he himself said, I slept real comfortable on that bed because I know I'm safe.
Wow.
Right? You understand that? That's the one Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left Ali back in Makkah to represent him and to take care of all the belongings that he was keeping for the people. And later on, Ali was in charge of bringing the family of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. All the different amanat and trusts that Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam was given by the people, Ali was entrusted to return it. So Ali returned everything, and then Ali left. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam also gave Ali the command to lie on his own bed for that day. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam left the house. And Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, Inna Quraishan lam yafquduni ma ra'aw. The Quraysh would not miss me as long as they see me on that bed. So Ali lied down on the bed and stayed there. And the Quraysh kept on looking at the bed of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and they saw Ali is lying down there, and they thought it was the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. The morning came, and when the door was opened, they saw it was Ali. So after Ali finished returning everybody's amanat and their trust and their wealth or whatever, then Ali left to go to Medina. He would travel during the night because it was cool and quiet and safe, and he would hide himself during the day and rest until he came to Medina. When Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam heard that Ali anhu had arrived, Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, "Only Ali and call Ali for me." He said, "O Messenger of Allah, he does not have strength to walk because he's alone in the desert. There will be no food or water, or very little, and he's traveling alone." You understand that? Yeah. After the 3 days. And Ali came on foot to meet the Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, and he was so tired and drained. They said that Ali does not have the strength to walk. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam went to meet Ali. When he saw him, he grabbed him and he hugged him tight and he began crying. Because Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam looked at his feet and his feet were swollen and bloody. His feet were swollen and bloody. So Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam recited, blowing his hands, and he wiped the feet of Ali and asked Allah to give Ali afiyah. And Ali never had any problems with his feet up to the day he died. So Ali anhu witnessing Badr and other battles. Ibn Ishaq says, from the Banu Hashim, Ali bin Abi Talib was there. Hadith of Bukhari. Ali bin Abi Talib was there. He witnessed Badr. Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam told Ali to remain in Medina for the Battle of Tabuk to take care of the family of Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. So this is why Ali anhu was not there for Tabuk, but he was there for all the other battles, right? A man once asked Bara, Ashahida Ali al-Badr, did Ali witness Badr? The man said yes, he witnessed Badr, and he didn't just witness, he challenged the disbelievers in the Mubazarah, in the single-handed combat between the two armies, and Ali even beat them. You can see it, not taller, taller than Umar.
How old you would have been for the battle?
Normally have to add about 15 years until Hijrah, right? 23, 10 plus 15 is 23. It would have been about 25. He was muscular, but not big like Umar and taller than Zubair. No, but he was muscular, yeah. Mus'ab bin Sa'ad mentions from Sa'ad. He says, I saw Ali, most likely this was in the Badr, splitting, using his sword, the head of the Mushrikeen. And when he was splitting them, he was saying, Sanah laylu ka'anni jinni. He says, I'm going to strike this night like I'm a jinn. You know, like, meaning strike them so fast that they can't see what's coming to them. Put him on voice, man voice.
Who was it at the Maria? Umar
calling out Ali. Maybe call Ben Mali.
I don't know. I think Ali would have been more there. Because Qadr was Saifullah, yeah, but Ali was always called Asadullah and Hero. So Allah knows best, you know. But I would have seen Ali without the Prophet. Sa'id bin Musayyib says Ali was injured with 16 lashes of the sword. 16 times he was sliced or hit with the sword on the day of Badr. 16 injuries he got with the sword. Every injury brought him to the ground. And only Jibril alayhi salam was there to bring Ali back up. To bring him back to stand him back up. So when Ali was hit and he fell down, Jibril was there to lift him back up. Jibril was there to lift him back up. I don't know. 16, eh? Sa'd bin Ubadah was the carrier of the flag of the Rasul Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam in most of the battles. But when it was time for the fighting, Ali took the flag. Ali would take the flag. So like Sa'd bin Ubadah, when the army is marching or whatever, Sa'd bin Ubadah is carrying it. But when it's time for fighting, Ali is going to take the flag in many of the battles, right? Well, the woman of the Sahaba used to be there. But pal, today we complaining about mosquitoes and salat, right? Today we complaining about, oh God, it's hot, right? You're this Ramadan, really hot and dry. You know? It's the Muhammad Poli, you see that, right? You know, you understand? Right? Badr was in Ramadan. You understand? Uhud wasn't in Ramadan. But Badr was in Ramadan. And when people get sliced, right? We spoke about one youth whose hand was cut off. I told you about that already. And he was still fighting with his hand cut off during the battle. Inshallah, follow the series of the Heroes of Islam on YouTube or the IBN or whatever it is, and you'll learn more about it, inshallah. So they got injured, right? In the battle. They got injured in the battle, right? After getting injured in the battle, you're not going to see ambulance popping up. And then bringing them, and then you'll see a tanty nurse, and she's taking the temperature and the pressure, and she'll be, wrapping it with, and then she'll be injecting the cut, and she'll stitch them up. No, you're not seeing that. You're not seeing the tanties and them coming and doing that. No. You'll see, after the battle, they'll bring the woman would bring a handful of like dried wheat stalks or dried barley stalks, right? And a shield or a bowl with water. And they'll wash out the dirt from the wound. Right, pal? Wash out the dirt from the wound. They'll light the wheat stalks, like the handful of wheat stalks, a fire, When it gets red, then they'll blow it out, and then they'll stick it in the wound. Light it again, stick it in the wound. Light it again, stick it in the wound until they cauterize the wound. And there were some instances where Sahaba got the wound and the wound was deep, but they cauterized it. So Paul, sometimes they have to take boiling hot olive oil and throw it on the wound to seal it off. And sometimes they would have to take molten gold or molten silver and fill up the gaps in the wound. Well,
Borrow money.
yes, now, E.T.
Now you know the real sacrifice and what done for Islam. For all your comfort today.
Sacrifice with the deen.
For all your comfort today.
To complain. Why?
Why not?
If Allah give us Iman, we could do it.
They didn't allow I fast, and people can't pass because they have exams.
Ikrama says, Ali would say, when the people scattered from the Rasul, the people run away from around the Rasul on the day of Uhud, I looked at the dead ones on the battlefield. I didn't see the Rasul. So I said, I swear by Allah, my Nabi is not going to run away, and I have not seen him among the dead. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is angry with us for what we have done, and Allah took his Nabi up away from us. فَمَا فِي خَيْرًا مِنْ أَنْ أُقَاتِلَ حَتَّى أُقْتَلَ Uqtal, he says, there's no good in me today until or unless I fight until I'm killed. So he took his sword out of the sheath and he broke the sheath of the sword. And he jumped into the thick of the crowd until he fought. And he fought a group of people, and when he cut them down, then he saw the Rasul behind his group. And of course, Ali was one of those who stuck with the Rasul in Uhud, didn't leave aside. When it was the day of Khaybar, the flag was taken by Abu Bakr Siddiq. This is okay before the fighting of Khaybar or whatever, for the conquest itself. Like that's when the army was actually camping or going to camp in front of Khaybar, right? Abu Bakr had the flag with him. The next day, Umar bin Khattab took the flag. Then Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "La adfa'anna liwa'i ila rajulin lam yarja' hatta yaftahu Allah alayhi." Because Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam he allowed Abu Bakr to keep the flag for one day, then Umar, but then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, "I'm going to give the flag tomorrow to a person, a man who would not return until Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives victory upon his hand." So Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam made salat, morning salat, and he called the flag. Now one narration says that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "I'm going to give the flag to a man whom Allah loves and he loves Allah. Allah loves him and he loves Allah." Umar bin Khattab said, when I heard that, I went early for Fajr. I sat right behind Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and I cannot stick out my neck like this. You know, I want that title. I want that title. Anybody will want that title? Allah loves me, I love Allah, of course, right? So then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam after salat, he looked around. He looked around, Umar was stretching, and Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam looked beyond Umar. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was looking. And Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam says, "Where's Ali?" Somebody said, "Ali has an eye injury." Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam called him and blew in his eye and wiped his eye. And it was cured. And then Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave the flag to Ali. Oh, the animal. The flag to Allah. If you are a proper warrior, that flag on your hand will murder you.
One sword in one hand.
Like a spear. Alright, we're going to stop the inshallah, alright? And we have to start the Arabic class. Okay, assalamu alaikum. Was that all, Mr.